I have three questions. However, I can ask two later if you don't have time.
Yes,
So
please. Last one. That
my
would be great.
my first question is so for example, in Pakistan, when they argue for a secular society, they say that we all know that science is very important for a country and its progress and its economy, and they say that and they kind of mock Islam when they say that, okay, if you have Islamic government, the scholars earlier, they were quite hesitant of photos. However, uh, now since the world didn't care about them, they just now they came to realization, okay, photos and videos are fine. And adding to this, it's like now in hindsight we can say that theories can be false, but they can have workable models. So if there's some theory proposed by a scientist, however it goes against certain Islamic principles or certain ayats, um, and then he implements that into a workable model. However, if in an Islamic government, it would be stopped, and that man, a scientist, would be deemed a heretic. So, how would we solve this issue, please?
Okay, so I always find it very rich when secularists try and use science and say that Islam can stop science. And I would simply ask them, well, why didn't secularists come up with science? Why didn't atheists come up with science? Why didn't skeptics come up with science? Why was it Muslims who were pushing the science and the inductive modern scientific method? People like Hassan ibn Haytham. Then later on, the baton was taken by the likes of Christian scientists. And then later on, when this party has been going on well into 95% of its sort of history, you then get in the late Victorian era and then onwards, more secular scientists becoming prevalent. The thing which is the most important to keep in mind is what applies to one religion applies to another religion, including the religion of liberalism. There's things that come out in science which challenge liberalism, such as the idea that gender equality is not just a social construct. Patriarchy is not just a social construct. We're hardwired for it. And then what you get is you get liberal feminists who try and challenge it and challenge science and cause a wreckage in the scientific community by challenging valid science, by saying, no, we can't accept that natural selection engineered us to be patriarchal. No, we cannot accept that natural selection made men more physically stronger, made men more aggressive. No, we cannot accept the idea that gender roles is something which was a stable selection strategy. So you can say, yeah, Islam, there may be things in Islam which certain scientific theories disagree with, and therefore Muslims are less likely to favor them. Well, that's the same with humanism, same with liberalism, same with any of these secular philosophies. Additionally, because we as Muslims, we believe science from an instrumental perspective, that we can hold on to scientific theories even though they contradict us from an epistemic point of view, such as the steady state model. But it doesn't mean that we have to throw out the baby with the bathwater. It doesn't mean that we have to completely disregard all of science and just say, okay, we're not going to accept this because this is not in line with the Quran. In fact, and this is very important, secular societies such as the USSR, they persecuted scientists. Christian Europe persecuted scientists. Yet in the Islamic world, people who were deemed heretics, were called out to be heretics, but none were burnt at the stake. Yeah, Muslims put up with people who were in the opposition, just like the Prophet ﷺ put up with the leader of the hypocrites. Muslims put up with complete heretics from a theological point of view, and even people who had ideas in terms of science which went against Muslims, but Muslims never killed those people. And the other thing is that making the yardstick scientific progress. So we're going to choose a society, whether it's secular or Islamic, based upon how well it does scientifically. If you just look at the history of science, then we know that according to that argument, then you should be choosing a theistic society because it gives you a moral imperative that atheistic societies can't give you. Additionally to that, who said science flourishing is a yardstick for truth? that the society in which science flourishes, that's the true society, and the societies in which science doesn't flourish is not the true society. So we can challenge them from a philosophical perspective, and we can also challenge them from a history perspective. The reason why I'm laughing is Muhammad Hijab is a caveman, has no idea how to use StreamYard. There's a guy trolling, and he managed to learn how to block him. And that's a miracle. That's a miracle right there. So Jazakallah khair, brother Abdurrahman, for your question.